Madam Secretary, on April 24th, a woman in Louisiana was deported along with her 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son, both of whom were U.S. citizens. The 4-year-old son had stage 4 cancer. Now, you just stated under oath that the mother consented to having her U.S. citizen children removed. But I have spoken with the attorney for that U.S. citizen child with stage 4 cancer. She has also made numerous statements to the press in which she stated unequivocally that at no time did the mother consent to her U.S. citizen children being removed. What evidence do you have to support your claim that she did consent?
They deported a 4-year-old boy, not just any child, but a U.S. citizen. Not just a U.S. citizen, but a child battling stage 4 cancer. And when Rep. Seth Magaziner demanded answers, the response from DHS was evasive, defensive, and chilling.
Congressman, we followed the same policies and procedures.
What evidence do you have? What evidence do you have?
We have documentation that
what documentation do you have that mother consented?
We'll get that to you, sir. I don't have it with me.
Please do. I understand it's hard to keep them all straight because you've deported multiple U.S. citizen children, but I'm asking specifically about the 4-year-old with cancer who was deported on April 25th. For the record, that family was also not given access to legal counsel before they were deported, even though their lawyer was in the same building at the time. I'm holding in my hands here a document called ICE Directive 11064, Interests of Non-Citizen Parents and Legal Guardians of Minor Children. This is the policy for how ICE agents should handle situations like this. It states unequivocally that parents and legal guardians should have the ability to make alternative care arrangements for minor children prior to their arrest or detention, and that ICE must afford parents the opportunity to consult with legal counsel. So, did the ICE agents working on this case who deported this 4-year-old with cancer of their own volition fail to follow ICE policies, or were they directed to by your office or anyone else in DHS leadership?
Sir, this mother chose to keep her child with her.
You have not produced any evidence to say so, but I'm asking again, have you directed DHS officers to ignore this policy?
It's very different than the previous administration. The previous administration
on March 15th, reclaiming my time, on March 15th, your department sent 3 airplanes to El Salvador. Those planes carried approximately 261 individuals who were imprisoned upon arrival. Did you personally review and approve the names of those 261 individuals before they were sent?
Sir, we have deported and sent home
Did you review the names of those individuals?
And we have individuals that have
why won't you answer the question?
Within the Department of
Are you aware of whether those 261 individuals were given the opportunity to speak with a lawyer or appear before a judge before they were put on those planes? Yes or no?
Sir, every single individual followed the exact same process.
They were not all given the opportunity to appear before a judge or speak with a lawyer. On April 7th, the Supreme Court ruled that detainees must have an opportunity to have a hearing before they are deported. Are you familiar with the April 7th Supreme Court ruling?
I am.
Can you assure us that in the future you will abide by that Supreme Court ruling to provide detainees with a hearing before they are deported?
We're following all judges' orders. Yes, sir.
I have a photograph here of André Hernandez Romero, a gay makeup artist from Venezuela. He fled Venezuela fearing gang violence because of his opposition to the Maduro dictatorship and his sexual orientation. He presented himself at a port of entry and requested asylum. His claim was found to be credible, and he was placed in detention to await a full hearing. But he never received a full hearing because you put him on one of those planes to El Salvador, where he still is today. Listen to me. He had no criminal record in the United States or in any other country. He did not even enter the country illegally. He presented at a port of entry. He tried to do it the legal way. And to this date, the only evidence your department has presented to justify his imprisonment is that he had 2 tattoos, one that said mom and one that said dad. Do you have any other evidence to present for why this individual should be locked up in El Salvador?
Sir, every case is used the same protocols and the same processes and inputs.
Do you have any evidence other than the tattoos that say mom or dad for why this individual should be locked up?
So it's not just on tattoos. It's who they're affiliated with, their communication.
You have not presented any other evidence, nor has your department. Reclaiming my time, during your confirmation hearing, you said your focus would be on deporting immigrants who have been convicted of crimes and those who have received removal orders. But that is not what you have been doing. Instead, you have been deporting children with cancer, children who are U.S. citizens, a gay makeup artist who committed no crime and didn't even enter the country illegally. You have been sloppy. Your department has been sloppy, and instead of focusing on real criminals, you have allowed innocent children to be deported while you fly around the country playing dress up for the cameras. Instead of enforcing the laws, you have repeatedly broken them. You need to change course immediately before more innocent people are hurt on your watch.
Gentleman's time has expired. I now recognize...
They deported a 4-year-old U.S. citizen. Let that sink in for a second. A child with stage 4 cancer, born in America, entitled to every right and protection that citizenship should guarantee. And yet, according to the testimony we just heard, this boy was put on a plane and removed from his own country. Representative Seth Magaziner didn't let that fact slide. He pressed the administration with the kind of relentlessness that moments like this demand. Because here's the thing, citizenship isn't supposed to be negotiable. Under the Constitution, if you are born here, you are a citizen. And with that status comes rights. The right to due process, the right to equal protection, the right to stay in the country that is legally yours. So when a 4-year-old citizen is deported, questions aren't just fair, they're absolutely necessary. And when Magaziner asked what evidence the department had that this mother consented to her children's removal, the secretary could not produce a single document. No signed form, no record, nothing, just vague promises to get that to you later. That's not a minor slip. That's the kind of omission that undermines the very credibility of the system. Imagine being a parent watching this, knowing that if something this egregious could happen to one family, it could happen to others. And then, imagine being that little boy, sick, needing care, ripped away from the country whose passport proves his belonging. This isn't just a policy mistake, it's a moral failure. But Magaziner went further. He pointed out that this wasn't an isolated incident. Multiple U.S. citizen children have been deported. Families have been denied access to their lawyers, even when their attorneys were physically in the building at the time of removal. That flies directly in the face of ICE's own written policy, which requires parents to be given a chance to arrange care for their children and to consult legal counsel. Those aren't optional guidelines. Those are safeguards designed to prevent exactly this kind of injustice. And here's why this matters for every American. Due process, the idea that before the government can take away your freedom, your family, or your rights, you're entitled to a hearing, is one of the bedrock principles of our system. Strip that away for some people, and you weaken it for everyone. That's why the Supreme Court recently ruled that detainees must be given a hearing before deportation. Yet even after that ruling, Magaziner showed that DHS continued removals without honoring it. That's not just sloppy governance, that's defiance of the highest court in the land. Then, Magaziner told the story of Andre Hernandez Romero, a gay makeup artist from Venezuela. Andre didn't sneak across a border. He did everything by the book. He presented himself legally at a port of entry, requested asylum, and passed the initial credibility screening. He was fleeing gang violence and persecution under the Maduro regime. He had no criminal record here or anywhere else, and yet he was placed on one of those planes to El Salvador. Why? According to DHS, because he had tattoos, one that said mom and one that said dad. That was the evidence used to strip him of protection and ship him to a place he never called home. Think about how thin that justification is. Tattoos are common across cultures, across ages, across families. They are not proof of criminality. And yet, in this case, they were treated as enough to override a credible asylum claim and send someone back into danger. That should terrify anyone who believes in fairness. Because if body art is enough to brand you suspect, then the standard for justice is so low it practically doesn't exist. This is why Magaziner's anger landed so hard. He reminded the secretary that the department's stated mission is to prioritize the removal of dangerous criminals and those with serious removal orders. But instead, what we've seen are cases like these: children with cancer, U.S. citizens, asylum seekers who followed the legal process. That's not prioritization. That's chaos. That's injustice dressed up as policy. And this is bigger than politics. It cuts to the heart of what America claims to be. We tell the world we are a nation of laws, that citizenship means something, that asylum is a right for those fleeing persecution. But if we deport our own citizens, if we deny hearings, if we ignore the Supreme Court, then those claims ring hollow. What Magaziner was doing in that hearing wasn't just playing partisan hardball. He was standing in as the conscience of a country that too often looks away when immigration policies break families apart. He was asking the questions every American should be asking. If the government can deport citizens, what does that mean for the rest of us? If legal asylum seekers can be dismissed because of a tattoo, what does that say about our commitment to human rights? If due process can be ignored for some, how long before it's ignored for all? And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Immigration policy isn't just about borders and enforcement. It's about people. People with illnesses, people with families, people with dreams and fears and lives that matter. Every deportation isn't just a statistic, it's a story. And when those stories reveal cracks this deep in our system, it's not enough to shake our heads. We have to demand better. So if this breakdown gave you a clearer picture of what's really at stake, don't just scroll away. Subscribe. Share this with someone who thinks immigration is just a slogan or a talking point, because until more people understand the human cost of these policies, mistakes like this will keep happening, and the silence of the public will only make it easier for leaders to excuse them.